We also have a course that's being released on a platform, which is a community platform. So courses, coaching, community, lots of goodies on there very soon. We've been waiting to get all of these things together. We're gonna have a YouTube channel launching soon. So you will be the very first Skirt Smarts guest. So congratulations. That's great. I know. Um, yeah, so
Very
and
exciting. Thank you, Pixie.
You're welcome.
Wait. Okay.
This is why I said always have to be
I like
recording.
that. I like that. What's that when you hit a win?
No, that is
The
just her
song goes win?
entire soul. So one of the reasons I'm so excited to have Shoshana here on this podcast, like the very first it's not the very first, but it's certainly the reintroduction of the Skirt podcast that we're working on this here. And I'm so excited to have Shoshana because in her heart and soul, she is just a masterful mastermind at leveling up in soul. And so, as one of the most talented drummers that I've ever experienced, I can't know this, like I wasn't born with any skill to decipher, but I can tell how she makes me feel. And if I can feel, transferred, transformed, and translated into a whole different level of soul, then in my book, there's nothing better. And she has that talent throughout her bones.
Wow. Interesting. And I think that's like the core to everything. That's the core to successful sales, business, life, friendships. If you can make people feel good and you have that feeling, then that's impressive.
We
Absolutely.
can talk about that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it right now, actually, about what is it about that drumming and that inside and that the reason I'm asking is because my daughter just had a baby this weekend.
Yeah.
And she surprised me by having it on my surprise birthday party. So they had to tell me about my surprise birthday party because I surprised them by having to go to the hospital to deliver Raya's baby. So that was interesting. And one of the things that my daughter is a doula, and she kept saying whale lips, whale hums, and horse lips, whale hums and horse lips. So I was trying to get her to, get that vibration into her. She was not having it, by the way. She was screaming, saying, I don't want to be a horse and I don't want to be a whale. But what is it about that deep sounding vibration that just, transposes the soul?
Well, sound has frequencies. So just like light has frequencies. And so the different sounds trigger, like if I showed you my wall, I have healing chimes, I have a bag full of toys, I have several drums, and they all sound different and they all inspire, they light up like your nervous system. They light up your nervous system. So some, just like citrus smells a certain way, and it's sort of an invigorating smell, and lavender is kind of a calm smell. So the same thing with music, when you're listening to a pianist or a violinist or a drummer or a percussionist, you get a different sensation in your whole body because these are all frequencies. And, smell has frequencies and it all affects the nervous system. So that's my answer.
I'm totally about all the energy, and I think I don't even sleep at all anymore just listening to all the podcasts about our master teachers and what they are discovering now and really merging science with light energy and but sound energy and really how we are all vibrating all the time, as you mentioned. Let's back up and talk about what your background is, though. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you live, what your core passion is, and then we'll go from there.
Super. Well, thank you, Pixie, very much, and David for running this event. I'm excited. I love dealing with, empowering people, especially women, especially young women. And even, I'm in that middle stage where I'm probably over the middle stage, but I got a halfway to go. And so I really like helping people feel good. And no matter what I've done, so I'm Shoshana Richeck, and my current occupation is I am a functional nutrition and lifestyle counselor That's a mouthful. I'm not a dietitian, so we'll talk maybe a little bit about some of those differences. But I know how nutrition, different types of nutrition, affects every system in your body. And what I like to help people do is improve their relationship with food, because that was
Mm-hmm.
my problem. And we'll talk about that. But one of the other certifications I have is as an advanced belief clearing practitioner, another mouthful, but that allows me to work with everybody's subconscious, because our brain, the amygdala in the brain, actually doesn't want us to change anything. And so our subconscious memorizes all of our routines, and then our conscious brain is available to answer questions. And, if the stove is boiling over, and if Pixie calls me to do a podcast, it allows us to deal with the immediate, but everything that's routine is subconscious. So just like behaviors, right? And so people with emotional eating issues, and that's my favorite thing to talk about, because I had to be into health, holistic health, well-being my entire life, because I started this emotional eating problem at about 8 years old. So I had to learn how to be a healthy person, and how to take care of myself, and how to exercise, because I wanted to look like I was normal. I didn't want to look like I had a problem. And this is what anybody who has an emotional problem, and call it a problem, call it an opportunity, it doesn't really matter. To the person suffering, it's a problem. And so we're not going to be politically correct here. We're just going to call it what it is. And so everybody, and I hate to use this relationship, and I don't know why I'm opening with it, but I'm gonna, is people who commit suicide. We've all known people, and we've known people that they've been related to. And everybody who knows these people says, I had no idea. Well, the same thing with mental illness, emotional eating. I don't care what you have. Everybody's got something, and we all want to show up as normal. So I did my best through my entire life to just work hard and push through. And I think because of that, one of my major strengths is resilience. I had somebody tell me the other day, so we'll talk a little bit about my personality. We'll just kind of throw stuff out and see what sticks. But I had somebody who's known me for about 28 years now. I've been here almost 28 years. And she said, when something happens in your life, you don't just, you know, peel back and think it through and surface again. You totally recreate yourself. And it's so true. I have some level, and I don't know what it's from. I could probably tell you if I really thought about it. I haven't really thought about it. I work a lot with intuition, so I could probably figure it out, but it's not critical. But I do have some type of resilience and creative ability to say, who is that better version of myself? And so when I work with clients, I use that subconscious work, and I use what I know about life after many decades. And I just help them find, who do you really want to be? Because you can be that person. What I've learned so simply is that whatever we tell ourselves, we believe it. Our subconscious believes it. It doesn't matter what it is. I could tell myself, I am a millionaire. I feel like a millionaire. And you know what? The reality is, no matter what's happened to my life, I've always been okay. I can't explain it. So that could be feeling like a millionaire. Nobody knows. But if I show up positive and I'm smiling and I'm happy and I'm not dramatic about anything, that's not my style.
Yes.
So I just show up. But this whole resilient and recreating ourselves, I would say, and so I'm just kind of looking at this flyer you gave me and said, here are some things that people want to hear about. But I would say that's my strength. I mean, and
Interesting.
I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I started in the hospitality industry. So this goes back to your opening a little bit, because it goes back to, I like I like to take care of people. I like people to feel well. I was in food and beverage. It's like, oh, how's your food? Oh, what can I do to make it better? Where would you like to sit? Oh, who's coming with you? Oh, what kind of party is that going to be? Always trying to help create that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I do that in my family also. It's just who I am. And so um, I started there for 5 years, and then I realized I don't really like being an employee. I'm not a good one. I like to be busy. I like to be thinking and creating, and sometimes you're just standing around. So I learned how to become an entrepreneur a long time ago. It was actually 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And I started a marketing business. I didn't know much about it. I bought some books. I bought a Macintosh, what we called at the time, computer. Eventually found a high res printer, I think 300 DPI, then 600 DPI. Then you could buy this insert for it that would make it 1200 DPI. I learned web development. I learned how to cut and paste stuff and bring it to printers before we had email. And then when web stuff came out, I learned the very first, I think, search engine optimization program was Web Position Gold. So I stuck with my technology. I still like it. I have actually a piece of paper on my desk that has about 12 different things that I use in my everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that was that. So then I transferred into this business. That took me for 19 years. And I used my corporate background to help businesses, and I used whatever I could to help them look better and sound better and whatever I learned how to do.
Sure.
Then something happened in 2007. We'll go to some intuition. I had this weird thought. I said, "Oh my God, if something happens, my Bell South bill alone for advertising, because that's when you had to advertise in the yellow pages, my Bell South bill is $500 a month. Never mind the people that I pay.
Right.
Never mind my rent and all these other things, because I had office space at the time." I said, "Ooh, that's scary." And somebody came up to me within that time period and said, "We want your office space. We'll pay you to leave." I'm like, "Oh." So then I said something to a guy I knew who helped me with web work. And I said, "Would you ever want to buy my company name? Charleston Marketing." I had charlestonmarketing.com and marketingcharleston.com.
Wow.
That's where the value was. And he said yes. So the both of them paid me what they did. I got out. That was 2007. What happened in 2008?
Yep, the crash.
And I had no liability and I had no debt. you know? So that was, now we're going to transition again. I'm like, well, what else could I do? And somebody who had a kitchen design business said, "I'd love for you to work with me." I said, "Oh." So I learned how to work with him. And I didn't really like him. I hope he doesn't hear this, but he knows it. And I started my own kitchen and closet design and sales business. And I
Interesting.
had so much fun. And that used a lot of technology, measuring kitchens, creative, another spoke on a wheel. I still needed people to put it together. I still needed people to buy the stuff from, right?
Right.
And I'm taking care of people again. And I'm helping them have that kitchen and that closet that's going to make their life feel so much better. Feeling better, feeling happier. I was there, saved the day. That's where I like to be. And I did that for 9 years. I had an episode of cancer. The story isn't bad, really. It's just frustrating because a doctor gave me a pill to help me with my bone health. And that pill 6 months later turned into cancer. And the doctor didn't think I had cancer. And 2 months later, I found somebody else who would listen to me, and I had cancer. So I had to have a total hysterectomy. And that made me slow down. It made me tired. It made me
Sure.
not want to run in and out of people's houses during COVID. So no, and then material prices went up, and labor was harder to find, and everything was slower. And I thought, well, maybe this isn't a good thing for me anymore. So I took a break, and I said, maybe I should go to my passion. That's when I got certified in functional nutrition counseling and got my advanced belief clearing practitioner. And I said, I need to help people I skipped a piece of the story of my personal life at about 52, and I don't mind talking about age, whatever. I'm still here to talk about it. That's a good thing. But I learned how to heal that emotional eating. And I learned through subconscious work. And it had nothing to do with a diet. And I knew everything about food. That's the thing. People who have these issues, they know, most of them know about food and they know what they should or shouldn't eat, but their behavior is driving them. So I found this stuff out. It stopped the emotional eating. And I'm about 12 years out and I'm still good. And so anyway, so I thought,
Ask you some hard questions about that because I'm sure that our women listeners, especially, are running through the questions that I'm having, which is why I'm here. Which is okay. As women, we tend to be emotional, right? And most of us can be emotional eaters on some level, and it could go either way. It could be when I'm really upset and nervous, I don't eat at all, or when I'm really upset and nervous, I eat a lot. Or when I'm really happy and excited, I tend not to eat. When I'm depressed, I tend to eat. So I think that most women know that their bodies are definitely reactive to some kind of response of their emotions. We're emotional beings. When does it become a concern that you mentioned that this is something that's unhealthy, or it is, more erring towards this is a disorder as opposed to I'm just emotional? How do you determine when that's a problem? Because what is it? 90% of Americans are overweight. So it's not just from the perspective of weight, right? There must be something else to it.
okay, great. So here's my thought on it. First of all, are you happy? Not you personally, but the person. Is the person happy? Are they enjoying their life? Are they concerned about their health risks? Because typically people who are overweight are starting to show pre-diabetes. And they've now discovered that Alzheimer's and all the brain diseases are a type 3 diabetes. So all these insulin issues are all related to the brain. So is the person concerned about their health? Are they happy? So these are the two questions. If somebody's not concerned about their health and they're happy, then I don't think it's a problem.
I
You know,
see.
I mean, technically it could be a problem, but not for them. And maybe they're in avoidance. So I would only work with people who feel like, something, I am sick of yo-yo dieting. I am tired of the games. I am tired of this, that, and the other thing. I just want to feel normal and peaceful around food. I just want to feel like I am in control of healthy eating. That, if I want an ice cream sundae or a pizza, I'm going to have it, but I'm not going to let it hurt me. And that's the other piece. It's like, I like to help people feel like, is the food helping you feel nourished and happy? Because if we sometimes we know, sometimes we don't, but are you hurting yourself with your food because you're mad? Are you hurting yourself with your food because you're frustrated and you feel it like that? I mean, I can explain it because I've lived it, but
Lived
that
it.
full feeling that hurts, it's like nobody
Okay.
wants that
So
feeling.
it's really not the weight issue. It's more, do you feel healthy about your activities,
Do you feel
your
good?
actions?
Are you happy? Are you comfortable? Are you concerned? Like, where are you at?
Got it.
Yeah.
That
And
being
then
said,
you mentioned, go
go
ahead,
ahead. I
David.
was gonna say that being said, I kind of wanted to dive into the meat and potatoes of your business and kind of like your ideal client and the person that's looking for you. Like, what does that person look like? Because we got about 10 minutes left here, and so I just want to make sure we
Great.
get that out there. Like the
Wow.
person that's like, who's your best, your ideal client, or the people that need
Sure.
you in their life. Like what does that look like?
Sure. These are people who have had feelings about food. I can't tell you exactly who it is. I help men, I help women, I would say my average client is 35 to 79. That's who comes to me. There are women after having children want to kind of get it together. Maybe they never did, and they want to lead a healthy life for their children and have that There are women a little bit younger than me, maybe where I was in my 50s, that are they're concerned about their health getting older, and what that's going to look like and what diseases they may or may not get. So they want to do it. And then there are women older that I work with who have always had an issue but never knew who to talk to. So then I show up as somebody they can talk to. And there are some men now that are coming forward and saying, I want to, and we have to go deep into subconscious. So I'm finding that a lot of men now are really open to, being emotional and being connected with a woman in this way to really clear out the crap and
Yeah.
and feel whole again, and not feel like there's something else controlling them, because anybody with a real food illness, that food's controlling them. It's like a
Yeah.
heroin addiction.
Yeah. You mentioned the resilience, and I just want to touch on that. It is so important. In fact, I always say, life, art imitates life, right? So there's a new movie coming out called The Expendable, and it literally talks about this guy who signed up for a job because he's like, hey, I'm expendable. I'll sign up, pay me a lot of money, and you can kill me off. I don't really care. Well, it turns out that they go to kill him over and over and over again, and he's so resilient, he ends up not dying. So they start looking at him internally to say, what is so special about this guy's psyche and subconscious that he's actually not killing himself? He's able to be so resilient to all the situations they put him in that he's staying alive. And so they clone him. And now they're starting to say, okay, what are these features that we can clone in people over and over again to give them the tools of resiliency? So it's interesting that you say that. And I don't know how you tie, the two of those together, between healthy attitude about your eating, your food, your lifestyle, and having the resiliency to recreate yourself over and over again. And then I definitely want to touch on the drums, because where did you pull that in?
Okay, I want to say something about resiliency. I think I was thinking about it while you were talking, so I'm listening and I'm trying to really pull this through. I think when people become honest with themselves and they allow themselves to dream, and they are honest about what they do and don't like about what their life, their perception, because I don't know how many are there, 8 billion people, so there are 8 billion perceptions or whatever that number is. But so what is our perception and what do we want it to be? And somehow I have the gift that I can, even from a husband to a divorce, to a husband to a widow, to a husband now. And at this young age, this is my life. And every man's been somewhat different. And so this woman, when she said to me, she says, you just keep showing up like this new version of yourself with these new people with different characteristics. Yeah, because I'm growing and I'm leveling up. And not that anything was wrong with the other people. I mean, one of them died, but I realized after my second husband died, and then I'll go to the drums, that I'm supposed to be happy, because when I'm not happy, I'm not happy, and then I don't feel good, and then that's not good for me. So I realized very quickly, I went to an energy healer. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a quick tip before I go. She said, make a vision board, but not with words. Make a vision board about how you want to feel. So I chose images that depicted, how do I want to feel? I want to feel lively. I want to feel successful. I want to feel happy. I want to feel sexy. I want to feel whatever all those words are. But what does that look like? What does that feel like? And I made this vision board of how I wanted to feel. And within 6 months, I met Kenny. And after 6 years, we just got married. I think there's a lot to creating. And, I'm going to touch on God for a second, because I believe in God. And I believe that if we believe there's something greater than us and a power bigger than us that we can tap into, and that we are encouraged and empowered within ourselves. Like, I believe that God is within me. I believe I see everything through God's eyes. So these are how I feel. I look at nature out my window, and that is God loving me because it's so beautiful. So these are some of the ways that I walk around. And when people work with me, back to David's question, I want them to feel they don't have to I don't know what they believe in. That's not the critical piece. Just whatever it is that helps them feel alive and happy and well and vibrating. And so vibrating, let's go to the drums. So, gosh, okay, we don't have much time. This is hard. From a very young age, I've been extremely intuitive. And somehow, so my name is Shoshana. The Hebrew translation is Rose. But somehow I thought I had some kind of a American Indian heritage. And I can't explain it, but I can. I'm not going to do it on this talk, but I'll tell you later. I had a past life regression thing I like showed up somewhere and they were doing it. And I saw that connection. I'll tell you about it later. But from a young age, so at an early teen, I bought moccasins and I had long brown hair and I was a hippie. And I was into the music and I hung out with people who, I went to the Vermont Jazz Festival and just did some things, listened to Santana and really cool music. So that was in me. And then let's just say 10 years ago, I went up to Asheville and I found their drum circle on Friday nights at 6 p.m. And I said, oh, it just filled my soul. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So I created a Facebook page in Charleston Community Drum Circles. And I do my best to bring people together. I'm looking at 3 djembes and a set of dunes and a bongo and a bunch of percussions. And so I'll take all these things with me. Sometimes I do it at my house. I've done it on the front porch. We go to the library, and not to take away from my business, but this is a whole nother side of me. And so a lot of what I do in my business is rhythm. So I help people find their own rhythm, and it ties totally into the drumming.
I think that's amazing. That's a perfect name for this episode. And that's
absolutely.
Wonderful.
I've got to, so last year, I think it's 3 years in a row now, you've done the drumming for the Skirt Conference. And this year, Shoshana will be conducting her class on drums on Spiritual Sunday, which will be November 2nd. So the Skirt Conference is October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd. The 31st is our meet and greet. We all get together. That's the Friday. Saturday is a whole education day. And then on Sunday, November 2nd, we'll be doing Spiritual Sunday. And Shoshana will lead us again with the drum circle. We didn't have enough chairs last year. The circle got bigger and bigger. And my grandson was over the moon with drumming. He just could not get enough of the drumming. So this is for adults and for children who find their inner rhythm. And what a way to express, their energy and release it and hear it in the world. So I'm so grateful for you committing to doing that for us. It's just been amazing. I'm so looking forward to it. And I loved when you did the drumming under the moon at the Striped Pig. So I hope that we get to have that again.
Yeah, I think the hot weather and the cold weather and
we got to find the perfect weather.
Just gotta find where people will show up, honestly.
Yes.
This is 9 years in the making, and the groups get together and then they fall apart, and they get together and they fall apart. It's I wish I could create what they have in Asheville.
I know. Asheville's that spiritual place anyway. But I say that when I go into my office, I'm like, this is my church. So we will continue to bring amazing people like you, Shoshana Richeck, to, introduce you to the rest of the world, because it's just such a gift that you have in all of these facets, bouncing and the resilience to, I wouldn't even say you were transforming. I think you were embracing and pulling in all of your talents in the many lives and many masters that you are encompassing in your space. So I do appreciate that you've shared that with us.
Thank you.
I look forward to next time. And definitely we'll get all of your details into the podcast so we can share that information with everybody. And if they want the chance to experience your drumming firsthand, they better add November 5th to the calendar, because that is going to be one heck of a spiritual Sunday.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Absolutely. And
Thank you for having me.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for coming. And I also want to say that this kind of encompasses like what Skirt is all about, empowering women, but empowering women is not just in giving them power. It's about making them feel good about themselves. It's about them following their intuition. It's about the resilience. It's about all of the things that you mentioned. So that was great. And we
Thank
definitely
you.
look forward to having you on again to dive deeper into some of those things. But real quick before we end, just tell people where they can find you, where can, people see you online, where can people reach out to you at?
Sure. Probably the easiest way is if you take the first three letters of my first name, Sho, and my last name, Richek. Looks like Richek, it's Rycheck. But if you just, however you want to remember that, Show Write a check? I don't know, however you want to think about it. But if you look up Show Rycheck, Richek, that's my handle on social media. That's my domain name, showrycheck.com. And it's probably the best way to find me or talk to, anybody in town. I've been around networking. People know
Awesome.
me.
Perfect. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being on the Search Barnes podcast, and we will talk to you soon. I
Thanks a
appreciate it.
bunch.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you back.